This is Forever United TV. This is Match Day. We are live with your first morning reports of the day, bringing you all of the overnight news and speculation and all of the gossip columns from the Sunday papers live before we head out to Old Trafford this afternoon to see Manchester United finish off Van Nistelrooy's interim period as manager with a massive win against Leicester. Well, that's the hope, and hopefully we can be talking about a win later on for Ruud as we finish up this period for him and introduce, of course, our new head coach tomorrow, Ruben Amorim. He starts his role at United tomorrow morning. I don't know if he's flying over tonight. We'll wait to hear as the day goes on. I'm sure some things will come out later on through the day and in the afternoon. And don't forget, we are live this evening as well, me and Jay, with the breakdown show. So if there is any updates at all regarding Amorim, when we can expect to hear from him, will we be having a press conference to welcome him? We'll cover all of that later on this evening as well. But this morning, the papers are rife with talks about Ruud van Nistelrooy not being told what is happening yet. It is all coming down, and INEOS are leaving everything in the hands of Ruben Amorim to come into Carrington tomorrow and speak to Van Nistelrooy. Honestly, it feels a little bit unprofessional if that is the case, and I don't know if that is what is really happening. Like I said last night, I do expect Manchester United to have already communicated with Ruud van Nistelrooy as to what's happening next. If they are leaving it to the new man coming in, then really there is no sort of structure there, is there? It's a bit unprofessional to just go, welcome Ruben, now deal with this lot. Honestly, I think something has happened before, but there is apparently going to be crunch talks between Van Nistelrooy and Ruben Amorim, according to some reports from last night's media outlets and some in this morning's papers as well. There's going to be talks between the two, and it will be decided then. It just seems a bit strange, doesn't it? Like it's not already organised. We've talked about this aplenty before, but if it is all going to come down to tomorrow, then yeah, kind of a weird one, especially with Ruud like going out there today and having his last game in charge of Manchester United. Ruben Amorim arriving in the morning and like both of them just locking horns. Or is this just normal? You tell me in the live chat. Please get your comments in as well and let me know in the comment section after the video's finished how you feel about this situation and where it should have been rectified, whether it should have been rectified, whether it should have been cleared already. What are the other coaches going to do? Look, I think we fully expect most of the coaches to be gone because Ruben's bringing his in. And obviously, Van Nistelrooy, he holds a little bit more, don't he, in terms of standing and stature at Manchester United, and I feel like they don't want to come out and be saying that he's just going to be gone. So I think really just bringing it into the Ruben effect. Ruben will be here and that will be the big news, and then it will just be sort of the second down Ruud van Nistelrooy news, and it just gets moved on and moved away smoothly, or just in the midst of everything that's happening with the whole hurrah of Ruben Amorim being at Manchester United. It could be that. It might just be a case that Ruben does feel like he has got a space at Manchester United. Interesting news in today as well about the managers that we thought Manchester United might have been going for, and now coming out and talking. You seen a story come out last night regarding Tuchel's agent about the deal being pretty much done, and he was trying to push him towards Manchester United rather than England. And then we've seen a story come out last night about De Zerbi as well after his defeat to Auxerre for Marseille, and how he used a faked out contract to Manchester United to say to his players, look, I could have gone for the money, I came here for the passion. Obviously, I'm guessing that there was no passion in the Marseille side last night, but some things like this do come out in the heat of the moment, and it does look like Ruben Amorim wasn't the only Manchester United manager with a contract on the table in the summer, according to what these reports are saying. It was supposed to be Ruben Amorim, the only man that they really wanted. They couldn't get him in the summer, so they've had to go out desperately and get him over these first few months of the season. But really, the reality is, it looks like there has been other approaches to other managers. We were talking about this, obviously, at the time when we were still discussing whether Ten Hag should be manager, but still, like to actually hear stories and reports of De Zerbi actually holding up that so-called contract and saying this is where I could have been, like there was a deal on the table for him there, I could have gone for the money. That's quite damning, really, on sort of INEOS's part, I would have thought. But still, it's all water under the bridge now, and it is just something that we're going to talk about later on down the line as a story that might have been, and hopefully Ruben Amorim can start and kickstart his Manchester United career with a bang, and there's no real issues. But still, like these stories are still speculating and still being talked about around, and it just doesn't look good. It's not a good look for Manchester United, I don't think, especially with the announcement and everything being official tomorrow and him arriving at Old Trafford. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, it's what could have been. So really, we've got to look at this and go, we are quite lucky, really, that we have managed to avoid what happened in the summer. And in a way, was it a silver lining that Ten Hag did stay? Because we could have brought another manager in, and we might have had to persist with him in underperforming situations like we have this season because he wasn't the right man. I'm not saying that De Zerbi or Tuchel would have done worse than what Ten Hag has done this season, but still, you look at that and you would say, if we'd have got De Zerbi or Tuchel, Ruben Amorim wouldn't have been a Manchester United manager. He never would have been at the club. So really, when you look at it, I think INEOS might have covered it up a little bit by saying, look, we only really wanted Ruben Amorim because no one else met the targets or met the actual mark. We couldn't get him. We've just persisted with Ten Hag and we were going to bring Ruben in at the end of the season. Wasn't the case, according to these papers. L'Équipe were the ones that were running the story regarding De Zerbi and what he was saying, and obviously we've seen the reports last night come out about Tuchel as well, so it might have been a different situation altogether. And sometimes, like I said, like I've done all of my moaning and complaining about Ten Hag, and as everybody knows, really, it could have been a different story altogether. And this perfect scenario now with Ruben Amorim coming in might not have even come around if we'd have had someone else appointed like we wanted in the summer. So yeah, sometimes count your blessings and actually look at it in a different way as well. And like we always do, we always like to balance it out here on Forever United TV and look at both sides of it. Really, that it could have been a completely different will. We may have had De Zerbi or Tuchel in right now. I don't know if they'd have been doing anything any better than what Ten Hag was, but still, there'd have been no Ruben Amorim, and I think he is the best out there right now. I personally just didn't feel like Amorim was going to be available when it came to bringing any manager into Manchester United, and that's why I sort of moved away from that thought. Like, you know that he was on a championship winning season at Sporting, and it was quite clear that he was happy and intent on staying in the summer. Obviously, we found out later that he wanted to move to Manchester United. He's made his mind up in the summer, but we didn't find out about that until the last couple of weeks. So we're not even looking at Amorim right then. We're looking at anyone, and that's how desperate we was for a manager. But thankfully, it did work out this way in the end, which is a bit crazy to say. But thankfully, it did, and Manchester United got who they got in Ruben now, and the discussion with Van Nistelrooy. I mean, to be honest, if you'd have said to me the situation would be right now that if Manchester United win this game against Leicester today, we are only, I think it's 7 points, off top four, with Ruud van Nistelrooy discussing whether to stay as an assistant manager to Ruben Amorim. You've just got to look at that and go, all right, maybe this worked out for the better. Maybe this whole scenario and nightmare start to the season was a blessing in disguise. It's strange, isn't it? I know I'm talking in crazy tongue right now, and no one wanted that start to a season, but you just look at things and like things happen for a reason, sort of side in a way like that. You go down that Ten Hag road, you go down the start to the season, you go down how everything has happened within the Premier League. Everyone's failing, everyone's inconsistent. United have still got a chance even now against all of the odds in getting up into that or close to that top four, at least European football. And to be sat here there today on the 10th of November, almost a third of the way through the season, and not be completely cut adrift from the top of the Premier League, I think you've just got to count your blessings and go, do you know what? Maybe it isn't that bad. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it isn't as horrible a season as we first thought. But I mean, if you look at the Premier League table, I know I did this last night, but right now Manchester United, as we know, as you can see at the bottom of your screen there, are in 13th in the league. And you look at a win today, takes us on to 15 points. And that is 15 points. Well, actually, this is crazy right now. So, obviously Arsenal and Chelsea play. One of them is going to drop points. But it will be guaranteed that by the end of today, if Manchester United beat Leicester, we're going to be introducing Ruben Amorim as manager tomorrow, discussing whether or not Ruud van Nistelrooy should be staying at the football club after a win today, which puts us 5 points off top four. Where did that come from? Where did that scenario even develop from? We look like we have been completely cut adrift. Horrendous form. And yes, it is all off ifs and buts, and United have to win that game first of all. But if you were to say to me, Adam, you're 11 games into the season, it's not quite worked out for Ten Hag, and INEOS have acted on what they feel is the future of this football club and how they want the season to go. They've seen an issue. Ten Hag is sacked. Okay, Van Nistelrooy's in. He's seen us through an interim period of 4 games without losing a game, and we are 5 points off top 4. Ruben Amorim, who is the best young manager out there right now and would have been going to another big club if he didn't come to Manchester United, is going to be starting a job tomorrow. I'll be going, that's kind of a dream, innit? Surely? That's not real. That's fiction. But that's the reality right now. When you always got to look at it. And like I said before, like, I am the biggest. Like, I say what I see. And if I don't like what I see, I talk about it. You all know that, obviously, already. But what you've got to look at there in that scenario is, look, when you balance everything out, which we always do here on Forever United TV, there are always 2 ways of looking at things. And I think right now, I'm just looking at that and going, you know what? I'll take it. I'll definitely take that. And I will accept that, you know what, things happen for a reason. And we can take a positive from everything that's gone wrong so far this season. Yeah, we're spinning it a little bit and we're trying to overly positivitize it. I've made a word up there. And look at it in a way where we aren't actually that bad. I understand that. I do. I get that. But still, just to actually read that out, when I was thinking about it this morning, I was like, we could have had De Zerbi. We could have had Tuchel. We could have still had Erik ten Hag. I didn't think that Ruben Amorim was even near Manchester United. And I remember clearly how I was thinking in the summer when Ten Hag was there. And you all know I wanted Ten Hag gone. I was thinking Tuchel was the right man. I still thought he would have done a better job. De Zerbi, could he have done a better job? We had McKenna, we had all of the other talks, the worry about Southgate. All of this time, Ruben Amorim was planning his summer to come to Manchester United. Fast forward a nightmare 3 months. Manchester United, bottom half of the table, but a win today would leave United planted firmly in 13th, but 5 points off the top of the table because of how crazy this season has gone so far in the Premier League. You look at that and you go, okay, maybe we should be looking at the points a little bit more. But we could have been looking at them points that way with Erik ten Hag as manager still. But INEOS have acted off what they see as unrest and what they see as a problem at the football club. And really, you've got to just look at it and go, do you know what? This actually probably now did work out for the better at United. And that league table doesn't look that bad, even though we cannot move any further than 13th going into the international break. And to look at it, it looks horrendous, doesn't it? And it did do before. I think the fact that we have managed to get that half-decent performance against Chelsea. We've won in the Europa League finally, so we've ended the European drought, which was a year under Erik ten Hag. That's over. Obviously, we're into the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup. And everything, all of a sudden, looks just that little bit brighter for Manchester United. And it's all looking positive if, and it's a massive if, Manchester United win the game against Leicester today. I still can't believe that we could have Van Nistelrooy as a coach and Ruben Amorim as a head coach and Manchester United in the situation we're in today. United really have to win this game today, to be honest, don't they? They have to beat Leicester. They have to give Ruud van Nistelrooy a send-off either way. But even if he's staying, and you look at it this way, he could literally go to Ruben Amorim. And this is the complete opposite to what I was talking about last night. So just for anyone who wasn't watching yesterday and what I was talking about last night with Van Nistelrooy, you could say, look, the players have got an issue with what's happening with Ruben Amorim. And rather than going to him and his staff, they've got that get-out-of-jail card in Ruud van Nistelrooy still there. Ruud. I don't like this. Can we sort this out? They've got someone to go to. And I think a lot of people are looking at this clean slate as it's only Ruben Amorim's staff. He needs everybody going to him. He needs everybody on board with what he wants. There's nowhere for the players to go. There's no Van Nistelrooy. Some are even saying there's no Darren Fletcher to go to because he has been a big part of the coaching as well under Van Nistelrooy and Erik ten Hag so far this season. We've seen it when we've been at open training at Carrington. He has been a big part of it. And some are saying even Darren Fletcher shouldn't be a part of the staff within the fan base. I disagree with Darren Fletcher. I think there is an analyst role that he was doing before, which I think he probably would be happy with doing again. We've seen him on match days. He was with the analyst sort of side of the coaching setup. He's been more hands-on in recent weeks with the training and the first team. I seen him at the under-21s at Leeds Sports Village the other night. He was watching his son. Obviously, Jack was playing in the Champions League version of the under-19s competition alongside Phil Jones as well. He was there watching. So there is a role for him. And I think, honestly, Darren Fletcher around that academy side of things is just perfect. Working alongside the likes of Jason Wilcox, I haven't got a problem with that at all. I don't want him to be completely cut adrift of the first team, but I do get the argument and the debate amongst a lot of the fans about, look, let's just not give these players anything at all to go back on. They have to deal with Ruben Amorim and his rule, or it's gone. Look, Wilcox isn't going to bail them out. Dan Ashworth, Omar Barada, anyone of this new setup and structure at Manchester United, they're not going to bail these players out. They're there to do a job for INEOS and Sir Jim Radcliffe. So if these players have got an issue, then they can't go to anyone else at the club. They haven't got that go-to, there's a problem here. Honestly, with the structure there being in place and what we've just spoken about now, about them possibly moving across to Van Nistelrooy and having an issue there and going to him rather than going speaking to Ruben Amorim, I don't think it's going to fly with INEOS either, because let's not forget, Ruud van Nistelrooy wants to stay at Manchester United. If he wants to play ball, he's going to have to play ball on INEOS's rules. If he doesn't, then he'll be out the door as well, sooner rather than later. If Ruben Amorim gives him a chance, and there is some sort of unrest within Manchester United, and there's nowhere for these players to go but Van Nistelrooy, he's the one who's going to get it in the neck, and he's the one who's going to lose his job, not Ruben. Because, let's be honest, Ten Hag brought in Ruud van Nistelrooy to help him out. He's not an INEOS man. So they would be all too willing to get rid of Van Nistelrooy in a heartbeat. We know that. So when you look at any issue with the players coming about now, I feel like Van Nistelrooy has to fall in line just like the rest of the players do. And Ruud's not going to bail these players out. I'm actually hoping the perfect scenario is Ruud is brutal and he tells Ruben Amorim which of these players are just not going to cut it. See if you can get any more out of him. This is the player that you're going to have to work on even harder to get something out of, because he hasn't been showing it enough. He didn't under Eric Ten Hag while I was here, and he hasn't while I have been an interim boss over the last 3 weeks. So let's see if that happens. I hope that is the case, because I do want to see Van Nistelrooy stay. Personally, I want him to stay at the football club, but I completely understand that talks or whatever with Ruben Amorim are going to have to be on Amorim's terms, and Ruud van Nistelrooy is going to have to fall in line if he wants to be part of this project. So yeah, I do think that that is the best way that they can approach it, and for Ruud's sake, if he does have the best interest of the club at heart, he has to be on Ruben Amorim's side. Otherwise, he's done. And you know what? It may even tarnish his reputation going out and leaving to find another job. I think if he leaves now, he goes right into another job. He could stay at Manchester United and just be forgotten about as well. So on a personal side of things, maybe Van Nistelrooy's looking at this and going, I want to stay. And like he says, he has fully committed to being an assistant manager at Manchester United. Fair enough, yeah. No problem at all. But deep down, like, if he feels like, even if he's accepted by Ruben Amorim as part of his coaching team and it's not going right, it's not going to help him in his career. If he leaves now, I think Ruud van Nistelrooy walks into another job instantly and is managing at a decent level. And whether that be in one of the so-called lesser leagues, I don't know, maybe League 1, he could get a job in La Liga for me as well. He's got definite qualities. He's already been in the Eredivisie with PSV, so I think somewhere better would definitely suit him. But all we're bothered about right now as Man United fans is what Ruben says. It's Ruben's rule, and nothing else matters. It really doesn't. Sentimental side of things with Van Nistelrooy can go. I don't care. I love him. Absolutely love him. I think he's done a great job so far. But if it's not fitting into Ruben's plans, sling your hook. I'm sorry again. It's harsh, but unless big decisions like this are made, this team is just never going to move forward. I cannot wait to see these players' reaction to just having Ruben in there and his team and everything going forward from that point. Let's see who can really cut the mustard, as we say, and can step up to the mark and prove that they are Manchester United players. Let's get into the chat and see what you're all saying. Unfortunately, it is the best for Ruud van Nistelrooy to leave. Great managers have great egos. Ruud may have his chance one day, says Hike. True. Andrew says, Adam, it could not look much worse before they sacked Ten Hag. Now there is hope in. There is. There is hope in there, Andrew. It's crazy to look at it the way that we have just done with that league table. But to be only 4 points, do you know what I keep doing on this show? I keep looking back and not believing what I'm saying. I'm looking at the table continuously, and I'm looking at Brighton, who are in 4th right now. Nottingham Forest, who are in 3rd. And yes, Forest have still got one more game like us and could go on to more. Chelsea and Arsenal will play. And, of course, Arsenal might win, which then takes that top 4 spots down a peg in terms of how many points we can actually get. For instance, if Arsenal win, they go into 3rd position ahead of Forest. But if Forest win, they obviously stay there. And that gap from us to 4th is bigger. But I'm expecting I think it'll be a draw between Chelsea and Arsenal today, which leaves them on 19 points apiece as well. If United beat Leicester, Chelsea and Arsenal on 19, Brighton on 19, and whatever happens with Forest against Newcastle today, either way, they could be doing us a favour by beating Newcastle and Manchester United winning, and we could move up ahead of Newcastle right now. But all of these teams at the start of the season, we've seen as teams that were going to be a threat to us. Now, we can overtake Newcastle with the results going right today. It's hard because we need to turn around the 3-goal deficit. We've seen Aston Villa. They're starting to fail and crumble now. I mean, Villa have lost just as many. They've lost one less than us. But if we beat Leicester today, we are only 3 points behind Aston Villa. And that shows you how tight it is. From 3rd in the league all the way down to Manchester United, there is 7 points in it. And if we win today and things don't go right for them teams like I've just described, that gap becomes even shorter. We are literally 6 and 5 points behind 3rd and 4th spot in the league. And all of a sudden, you cannot ignore Manchester United with Ruben Amorim coming into the side as a chance of making top 4. And it's down to these players to actually turn up and actually give a crap and play for this manager. There's no room now for this sentimental. He's been at the club so long. He's a United legend. Everybody loves him at the club. They sing songs about him. He's wearing this number shirt. He's on this much wages. He brings us this much commercial revenue in. Bollocks. See you later. It's been going on for far too long. Give Ruben the tools or get rid of the crap tools. That's the only way that Manchester United succeed. And I get a few more comments coming in from the live section. I'm going to move on to the paper talk. There's some interesting rumours around certain players and transfers coming through. We need to stop the sentimental stuff. Amorim must be boss, says Danny G. Ruud for the Bayern Munich job. I don't know. I'll check if something bad gone wrong for company. I've not been checking over them the last couple of weeks, so I don't know. I don't think he's doing too bad a job. I think the club have gotten worse under INEOS, sitting 14th, crap in the Champions League, crap in the Europa League and style of play. Well, they've not had a chance to play in the Champions League yet. So, look, they've made their first coach appointment. Let's see what happens from here. And then we'll see if we can start to improve on that and climb up the table and get back into the Champions League. Look, I fully believe that Manchester United can win the Europa League. There's no one in this league right now, and that's the Europa one I'm talking about, that scares me, that United should look at and go, we cannot beat them. Spurs are top of it. Lazio are up there. United can beat them. Of course we can. Yeah, we've been battered by Tottenham already this season, but still, under Amorim and a turnaround within this squad, Manchester United should be looking to win the Europa League. And that's when, when I've had conversations with Saeed when we did that, we were talking about the importance of the Europa League and how United needed to go for that and maybe sometimes commit to the Europa League and not the Premier League. But I just look at it now, and a win today does so much for Manchester United. I will be talking about this in the road trip later on as well in a bit more detail on it. I have pretty much gone over it mainly there though. But still, for United to actually be in this position right now, at home, against a newly promoted side at this stage of the season when it all looked like it was all over, to all of a sudden every other team above us having a mini collapse. And I'm talking City, I'm talking Villa, Newcastle, I'm talking Arsenal, like Chelsea inconsistent, big teams all underperforming and with no consistency at all. The table is completely open and anyone can go on a little bit of a run. I think United right now, look, we win today, then we've got Ipswich next. Yes, there's other tough games, but I know that Everton at home is coming up as well. We could be looking at a decent run of games where we can actually get points on the board, and then we go up in them big games. Obviously, they have it very difficult, but you just don't know. Build a little bit of confidence up, and then we can get into that Arsenal game. If we beat them, we turn the season around. We literally turn the season around. It's crazy. Really hoping Ruud has a great last game. Come on, Reds, says Martin. Agree with that one. Do you think we will score today, says Michael? Yeah, I'm going 3-1 United today. I do believe that this is a send-off for Van Nistelrooy. I think the players will play to the send-off. I pray that they do, and I hope that they do. I really do. So let's just see how we actually do perform. And it's all going to be, I think, out there at the start of this game. I think we're going to know straight away, just from how these players set out in this game, what sort of attitude we're going to see. I hope that they give Ruud van Nistelrooy everything that they've got today. These players will struggle all season. They are not up for it. Well, that's up for Ruben to change, Stephen, and hopefully he can. Exactly the point is that Amorim makes the players here he has better, says Danny G. He has to. Who is scoring the goals for top 4? We got no goal scorers. Look, someone can score goals in this team. Look, of everything that's gone on, like, you've still got a player like Marcus Rashford who could score goals, who has done. It depends if he wants to get his finger out of his arse and start playing again. And maybe Ruben Amorim will actually do that. I don't know. He may look at him and say, no, I can't fix this lad. It's time for him to go. Manchester United can reinvest that money into a proper striker. Look, there are people still saying that Rashford could be sold for 60, 70 million. 50, 60, 70 million. That brings you Gyökeres. That is a reality as well. There are teams out there that will buy Marcus Rashford. And when it comes to sentimental and all of that, you have to move the coaching avenue, as in what we're talking about right now, and we're like, Ruud's got to go. Ruud's got to go. I'm sorry, that man holds more stature than any one of them players at this football club. He deserves more respect than any one of them players on that team or on that pitch right now. And some. If we're happy to just go, we've got to cut this sentimental crap out of here, let's get rid of him, then we have to have the same attitude with these players. Otherwise, we are going to fail. So, if you want to get rid of Ruud, if you want to get rid of Fletcher, if you want to do all of that, then you have to get rid of the Marcus Rashfords. You have to get rid of the Bruno Fernandes. You have to get rid of the ones that the fans apparently all love as well. That's what you have to do. I don't think Bruno's going anywhere. I personally don't think Marcus Rashford is going anywhere, even though I would send Marcus Rashford away and sell him. I think that's where United's money is right now. And if you did, I think that's when everybody would say, right, this INEOS setup is really going for a change right now. But there are other players in there as well. Like, there's no way that Harry Maguire should be getting a new contract. He thinks he is going to get a new contract. I don't think INEOS will give it him. Time is up, basically. Time is up. New boss will probably prioritise the Europa. You've got to do something. You have, Jim. 3-0 today. Rashford gets the brace, says Jim Mack. He needs it. He desperately needs it. Philip Longshaw. Morning, Adam. Should Ruud play the Amorim system today, knowing he will be watching? I think he's got more concerns with dealing with Braga and Sporting right now, but he tried to implement some form of back three in that game against PAOK the other day. And really, I don't know. Play Ruud van Nistelrooy football. Don't try being something that you're not. It clearly isn't there with Van Nistelrooy. Like, Ruben is his own man. I think if you haven't got your own style of play, you will never succeed. I think he knows what he's doing. I think he has played that high line before at PSV, so let's see. Let's see. Glenn C with a super chat, thank you. I was watching a clip on X of the final, a few seconds of the Sir Alex Ferguson in Jose Europa year. Is that right? SF in Jose year? Sorry. Was a reminder how precarious having all eggs in one basket can be. Sorry. Right. Yeah, so I think what he's saying, I remember that season where Jose pretty much threw top four away to prioritise the Europa League. And it is a dangerous way to look at it. It is a dangerous way to look at it. It is one of them where you know, and the opportunity was there. I remember the season well. The opportunity was there for Jose to go for top four. But he saved his players, and United pretty much blew their chance of top four to keep everyone ready for the Europa League. And luckily it paid off for us, but it is a risky tactic, and it's a good point from Glenn there with a super chat. It is a risky tactic to just go all in on one competition and forget about the league 100%. You're not going to fix things in a month or two. Need time to analyse. Get this season should be written off. Anything positive that happens is a bonus. No point putting pressure on a manager before he starts. I disagree with that, DR. I'm not writing the season off at all. He needs to do something. We cannot have Manchester United failing again. I feel like there is a chance that this team can turn it around. I do. If your manager comes in and gets belief within these players, then we should be turning this around. There's no way that INEOS are going to accept that we write this season off just because they made a mistake in the summer. They've got to prove a point here in them rectifying their mistake in not getting rid of Ten Hag when they did. So for me, I just don't look at this as a season, let's just test it and see what positives come from it. We can't accept that as a United fan base. We have to be looking at trying to salvage this season. There's still there's still 20 plus games left in the league, and we're still in the other cup competitions. We need to be going for top four. We need to be trying to win the Europa League. This is what Manchester United should be doing. Hey Adam, your boy Lindelof played with Amorim at Benfica. Do you think he might get a contract? I don't know if he played with him. I know he played against him, I think. I think he was playing for Braga at the time. Was he playing for Braga? I thought he was playing for someone at the time, I think. But yeah, no, actually, Ruben Amorim has actually played against 3 Manchester United players that he's going to coach, which is crazy. So perhaps, yeah, you are right. Like, Lindelof did play against him. I think Eriksen's played against him, and Johnny Evans has also played against Ruben Amorim. Whether that's enough to get a contract, no. Lindelof isn't getting a contract at Man United. That's definitely not happening. He needs to be moved on, as well as, sadly, I mean, I don't know. Like, do you want to keep Johnny Evans as a bit part player again? Like, if he comes to you and says, I'm fit, I've got another year in me, I can be 5th or 6th choice centre back for you. You go out and buy another centre back. I can be here still. Like, I think there's an opportunity to keep Johnny Evans still, as crazy as it sounds. Look, I'm not in that sentimental headspace again. We talked about that already on the show. Like, I feel like United need to be looking ahead and looking to the future rather than clinging on. But worst case scenario, we haven't got a lot of money. Out of the 3 centre-backs, Evans, Maguire and Lindelof, who would I want to keep for one more year? Well, we make plans to bring in another centre-back. I would keep Johnny Evans all day, every day, and on a Sunday. That's who my choice would be. Johnny all the way. New managers that took off immediately: Liverpool, Aston Villa, Nottingham Forest, Brighton. Been more than 10 years since managers United still struggling. We need to be hitting the ground running. Look, there are other managers that have done it. You can't always compare other managers. It's a different scenario and different pressure than managing Manchester United. It's a different approach this time for Manchester United because it's a head coach. So let's look at it that way. Quickly into some of the paper talk as well. And there is a story going around that United might actually go in for Danilo from Juventus. Brazilian defender's contract with Serie A giants expires next summer, but Thiago Motta's side could be tempted to cash in on him at a reasonable price in January. Don't even go there. I'll read through the rest of the story. Otherwise, they could lose Danilo on a free at the end of the season. His age doesn't fit the strategy being imposed by INEOS, who are making strides to sign players under the age of 25. Yeah, I mean, when you look at last season, the man played 29 games for Juve. It's not good enough for Manchester United. And again, you're looking at situations here that you would have talked about under the old regime that are just not going to come about under INEOS at all. So when you look at stories like this, you actually should be pleased that they're there as a reminder to what it was like and what Manchester United used to operate like. And now that has gone. Now that's a thing of the past. And United don't need to look at stupid signings and possible make-weight signings in January. I'm fully behind the fact that United should not be spending a penny in January. Let's see how Luke... Just hear me out on this. Don't go in on me or have a go. Let's see how Luke Shaw does on his recovery, how Malacia does when he comes in. There's 2 more players for the left-hand side. He may like the look of Amas and think that he is ready to come in, where Ten Hag didn't. He may think he is. Every manager thinks differently. I think we've got cover on the right-hand side. I think we've got enough centre-backs to see us through the rest of the season to play hammering ball. Yes, some players may not adapt to it well, and we're going to get mistakes, but he can definitely use the squad that he's got right now to put his system in play. It's going to be a BTEC type of Sporting style because he hasn't got the players to play that way like Sporting do. The intensity is nowhere near there, but still, if you train these players into this shape and into this system, then you can still get some form of Sporting ball out of it. But we have to be realistic that it's not going to look as good as what it would while he was training and coaching Sporting. I think that's clear. But when you look at that, you could, in the striker department, look, is it not worth giving Wheatley a bit more of an opportunity in the first team right now? I feel like he is above the under-21 side. I think he's literally on the cusp of going out on loan, Wheatley, or coming into Manchester United's squad and being an option on a match day. I honestly, I've said this before, and I don't like it how under-21 players come into matchday squads for nothing because they can't play in the under-21 games if they play in the Premier League squads. So I think it's hampering them a little bit. But I would promote Wheatley rather than go out by a make-weight striker. We talked yesterday about Mwane from PSG, possibly on loan. Massive wages. Really? Should we be going down that road, or should we be promoting our own youth players as an option? Like, don't spend the money in January is what I'm saying. I understand that we need to progress, and I've been talking about how United can climb the table. People have come back saying, who's going to score us the goals to get us up there? I get it. I totally get it. Totally relevant comment and question, because there is no one really there right now. Can he turn Rashford around? Can he turn Højlund into a Gyökeres type of striker? Can he find a spot for Zirkzee? Can he get more out of Bruno Fernandes? These are the questions that we need to find the answers to in this next couple of months. And hopefully he can. Because it's not going to take much for these players. They are full-on quality players within Manchester United's side. We just cannot find them. They haven't got the right attitude. And this is when I say, like, he needs to cut these players when it comes to it in the summer and telling us he needs to get rid of them. I'm not saying these players haven't got the qualities, but have they got the drive, the determination, that strong mentality that you're gonna need to not only play this new system, which is taxing physically, but to handle the mental strain that's going to be on you as a Manchester United player trying to play this system when you've got away with so much before. That's the challenge, I think, for all of these players. And that's who Amorim will be sieving out, I feel, over these next few months up until that January transfer window. So, yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what he does with that. But don't go out and buy and waste money in January. We said yesterday in the video last night that Ruben Amorim has been looking at Manchester United's situation, preparing himself for his first presser. He's not going to buy any Sporting players in January. He says we need to hold out until the summer. Yeah, we do need to hold out. So he's going to come in, and I don't expect anyone to come in January. You could possibly look at a left-hand-sided player, but look, Malacia and Shaw are back in training. You've got Harry Amas there as well. Are you desperately going to go out and get a left-sided player in January? Are you going to wait for the right one in the summer? I think we can still manage to get through this season with what we've got. I do. I believe in it. Contrary to what a lot of people think, like I'm having a go and throwing players under the bus. Like, I've seen what's there. I'm just not happy with how they're playing right now, and their attitude stinks. So, yeah, that's my opinion, and that's where I stand with it. Do I believe that they can still turn it around? Yeah, they can. But they've got this season to do it. That's it. All you've got, this whole squad right now at Manchester United, all you've got is 6 months to prove to the fan base that you can be that player that we thought you was. When you came in, every player, we was a little bit excited to see with every player that came through the door at United, as we was with every young player coming through. And it was a mixture of all of them players in Man United's team right now. So can you discover that talent that we knew you had when you first arrived on the scene? If you don't, in the next 6 months, then you're gone. See you later. Simple as. Gifted membership, that's gone to Adam Hutchinson. Welcome to the Members Club, Adam. Great name, by the way. London was the one gifting that one. Thank you. Adam. Adam, what nonsense did the guy talking about that United is worse under INEOS? Some fans are just delusional. Look, United are not worse under INEOS. I know that. But some fans have just got these sort of agenda looks on things that they just won't differ from. They won't sort of come back and see the other side of it. They don't want to debate it. They've just got this mindset that it's not working. They're wasting money. They're not doing any better. The Glazers are still there. There's some fans that you just cannot convince is going to be better. The only way you convince that type of fan, mate, is in results on the pitch. It is fully results on the pitch. That is it. That's the only thing that changes it. Let's see. Danilo is injury prone. He played for City. Yeah, he's not coming to United. This is just... I wanted to bring that story up this morning as part of the paper sort of round of things, as to just a positive for United and United fans to look at. That's what we used to be. That's what we used to be like, and not anymore. Those are the stories that were always floating around for Manchester United fans to deal with, and that is no more. So that is a positive that we are going to see with INEOS. And if anyone does say that we are not better and moving in a better direction with INEOS than we was before, then I really do worry for you. Because it is moving in the right direction. Yeah, the league and everything right now, I think purely down to Ten Hag and his delusional tactics and way he thought United were playing. I think the players give up on Ten Hag as well. Whether you think that's right or wrong, I don't know. It's up to you to decide that. There are players right now that... I just said then, need to show us now in the next 6 months what they are really made of. And if they don't, then, sorry, this is where INEOS need to step in. And I think a lot of fans will judge INEOS on this next summer coming in as well. I think that's important to remember. Glenn C with the super chat. It's important to remember we got 28 games to get into the top 4 and try not to get frustrated if getting a few results doesn't move us up the league instantly. Look, it's going to be hard to move up that Premier League table right now, but you've just got to be in and amongst it with the points. That's all it is. United have got games where they will come up against teams ahead of them right now, and it's that 6 point, that double-header sort of game. You only have to look at the fixtures that United have got coming up, some massive games, but still, from where we are in the league now, if we win today, there is a chance by the end of play today that United are 4 points off the top 4. Well done, Ruud. Thank you. Let's move forward with Amorim tomorrow and let's see a fresh start for Manchester United. Thanks for that super chat, Glenn. And that is your morning show, everybody. It is a busy old day. The road trip will be coming up shortly as well. I'm going to head out very, very soon. Got lots to do, lots of work to do. So road trip will be up before the game. And then we'll have the match day reactions outside Old Trafford. And then obviously me and Jay will be back later on this evening for the breakdown show, going over everything that's happened today and all of the aftermath from what's hopefully going to be a Manchester United win. So please do give the video a like on your way out. Thanks for all the likes on the video already. Make sure that you have subscribed to Forever United TV. Check out the content that is up on your screen now as well from previous shows if you are watching later on. And I will see you all at Old Trafford later on. Have an amazing match day, everybody. And come on, United!